Yes, another Thursday on the 40 acres as the Texas Longhorns had a full pads closed practice today in preparation for a Saturday scrimmage that we're um, going to be monitoring over the weekend. Family and friends of players coming into town for that one, so hopefully we'll get some information about what happened. But based on some notes from today that you'll be able to go over to Orange Bloods and read. Um, maybe some movers and shakers as things begin to come into focus about what the depth chart could look like, especially on the defense. And we're going to talk about it today. Speaking of coming into focus, make sure and visit our sponsor, the Man Eye Institute. See life better. You can reach them at 844 wow 2020, 844 wow 2020. The Man Eye Institute is the presenting sponsor of the show. We thank them very much, and we're very glad to have them here in Central Texas to be able to provide that next level LASIK. You can only get in two other spots in the whole country. Very, very lucky to have them. Very lucky to have them as a sponsor, the Man Eye Institute. See life better. All right, so let's talk depth chart. I figured a good way that we could talk about this and kind of maybe um, just kind of sprinkle in some kind of notes from sources from these last couple of days of practice would be to just kind of look at the initial depth chart projection that I put together to end spring football and see where it was wrong. Right. So this will be on defense where it feels like things are kind of moving around a little bit. So where I had the strong side defensive end or the jack defensive end coming in to fall camp was I projected Ethan Burke to start, Lance Jackson behind him, Colton Vosick, who was coming off the spring injury behind him, or Justice Terry. We all know Justice Terry's been working at both the defensive end and at defensive tackle. I don't think that it's exactly wrong what I wrote, but I do think right now it's Burke is clearly the starter. But we got word today that during team periods, they had a really long extended team periods where we saw some kind of interesting things happen with some certain players maybe being in there with the ones during good on good that I wouldn't have expected. Somebody said that Lance Jackson got some work with the ones today. So that's interesting to me. I'd also kind of heard that Colton Vosick had been getting some work with the ones during team, maybe on Tuesday. So it feels to me like this is an Ethan Burke, then behind Ethan Burke, a Lance Jackson or Colton Vosick type of situation with Justice Terry maybe being behind those guys as an end, but possibly being used just as much because they're talking about how they're using him, in sub packages at defensive tackle and things like that, and maybe the NASCAR package, the dime package, the dollar package. So all those guys still in play, but I do think the way that it stacked up is a little bit different with Terry being used in those exotic ways, probably going to get the same amount of snaps as those other two, but maybe not as much as just at pure defensive end as those guys will. As far as the defensive tackle and the nose tackle spots, just the interior defensive line, I had it projected to be Cole Brevard at nose tackle and Murad Watson at defensive tackle. That could be right. I did hear today that Travis Shaw was at nose and that Murad Watson, for the first time I've heard, with the ones, started out with the ones there for the interior defensive line. It feels to me like right now, Murad Watson, Cole Brevard, Travis Shaw, maybe Hero Canoe are the guys that are kind of pushing to be those sort of frontline guys. Maybe a little bit of Alex January in there too. He also got some work today with the ones from what I was told. Um, it, so I think probably those five we're gonna have to, and then like we said, Justice Terry in those situations where they could be going to lighter fronts and speed packages, pass rushing fronts, all the rest. But to me, it feels like Murad Watson, Cole Brevard are in good spots. Travis Shaw is really getting talked up by Coach Kenny Baker. January's coming along, and reportedly, they like him right where he is. They like the athleticism and the leadership of Hero Canoe. So I think that, dude, I think what this means is that Texas is probably going to have one of the more even distributions of snaps that I've seen or that any of us have seen since Sark and his staff got to Texas. Somebody's going to have to, cement themselves as the first two that run out there. If I had to put my money on it right now, I think I would still have it where I had it with Brevard and Murad Watson. But I also think that based on like scheme position stuff, situational stuff, or just keeping these guys fresh, and healthy, I just think we're going to see a whole lot more subbing in. I think we're going to see a whole lot more strategic use of these guys and how you can use their specific skill sets based on what the game plan is during the game. But I do think kind of those first 4 to 5 spots are Watson, Brevard, Shaw, January, Canoe, and then Terry is a sort of a specialist player. I think we'll probably, based on what we've seen so far, I haven't seen or heard much out of Levon Johnson at all. He started off camp limited. It feels like guys like Josiah Sharma, Melvin Hills, Myron Charles are going to be guys for the future. Certainly really good prospects, but I think as far as the initial rotation, that's how it goes. I did have Trey Moore and Colin Simmons over at the Buck edge spot. Colin Simmons, of course, I had to have him ahead of Trey Moore. You're talking about all second team All American type of guy, and that whatever it was that came out yesterday. But Trey Moore is not playing at that spot anymore. He's playing as a true outside linebacker. He's not a backup linebacker behind, Anthill and Leongo Lafau. He's a guy who is he's a dude who's playing outside linebacker and who is doing so like getting a whole lot of praise. Like he's a starter. He's out there with Hill and Lafau and stuff. So at the edge, what it should be now, what I had before was Colin Simmons, Trey Moore, Zena Yamuzalo, Smith Orogbo. Right now, I would change that to Colin Simmons, Brad Spence, who's moved over from linebacker into the edge room. I'd say it's probably Brad Spence or Zena Yamuzalo, but I'm not. I think what I'm going to make is Colin Simmons, Brad Spence, Zena Yamuzalo, Smith Orogbo for those ones. As far as the inside linebackers, of course, we have Anthony Hill and Leongo Lafau. That's been obvious. As far as what's going on with the true backups at the inside linebacker, you could say that Trey Moore's second team because he practices with the linebackers, like we talked about earlier. He's an outside overhang linebacker. He plays his own position. Those guys behind them are Bo Barnes and Ty Anthony Smith. I had Jonathan Cunningham listed before as a weak side linebacker, third string guy. He's practicing with the safeties and stuff now. So it's he gets moved off. That was a wrong projection there for me. As far as the nickel spot, that is still Grayson Littleton. His backup is going to be Wardell Mack. I think that I didn't have that right. Obviously, I had Jelani McDonald at nickel. I had Derek Williams at safety. But Jelani McDonald, he was another guy that got mentioned today as a standout. He's still starting at safety opposite Michael Taft and Derek Williams. I think that the deals with Derek Williams, he's still kind of coming along. And, he's slowly coming kind of back into form and playing with the second team. I think eventually there could be something where there's some kind of way that McDonald comes back into playing nickel and maybe bumps Littleton out of the rotation. But for now, that's how things are shaping up for sure. Things are shaping up really well with the alpha seasoning too. Cody and I invented the alpha seasoning. You can get it at alphaseasoning.com. They're going quick, man. People love it. We've not gotten a bad review on it yet. You can use it on anything from burgers to steaks to I love it on chicken wings, chicken thighs, salmon fillets, hard-boiled eggs, scrambled eggs. I put it on sandwiches and salads. I eat that. I eat it on everything. It's really good ingredients. We worked really, really hard on it to develop this recipe. I think once you try it, you're not going to want to live without it. The alpha seasoning, make sure and go check it out. And a great product to test it out on is the beef at Texas Beef Traders. Make sure to go there, get your 10% off. You are going to get to meet Darren. You're going to have a great experience up there. And they sell the alpha seasoning at Texas Beef Traders. So make sure and go and check them out at Texas Beef Traders. But go to alphaseasoning.com. Help your brothers out. Cody currently in Minnesota, but help make his day up there because who knows what kind of day it's going to be at Vikings camp for him. At the corners, so we know it's Jalen Gilbo and Manny Muhammad. behind them, Kobe Black is like locked in on one of those sides. He's a guy who's, if this defensive backfield wasn't so good, he would be pushing to start. This whole defense, man, is just like, I was getting reports from practice today, man. This is like, man, this defense is tough to move on. And one person said it's like with this young offensive group, it's almost like I forgot what he said, but he basically said, what a great opportunity to be able to practice against a team that's looking like you go out there and you feel them, and like it feels like one of the best defenses in the whole country. And part of that is clearly the back end of the defense. Manny Muhammad, Jalen Gilbo locked in, Kobe Black, going to be an absolute future stud. At the other corner with the second team, it's been a mix apparently of Warren Roberson and Santana Wilson. You got, and then you also have guys like Caleb Chester, Cade Phillips that are a little bit farther down the depth chart. But it feels like if there's anything that's not completely locked in, it's that second cornerback, not named Kobe Black, and that feels like a Santana Wilson, Warren Roberson type of battle right there with those guys. As far as the safeties, we have Jelani McDonald and Michael Taft, as we discussed a little bit earlier today. Xavier Phillips, to me, feels like he's pretty locked in as the second team safety. And then behind him, I think Zealous Hicks and Jonah Williams have both been. I know Jonah Williams has been a little bit banged up. I heard that Zealous Hicks might have a little bit of something where he might have missed some time, at least maybe today. So that's Xavier Phillips to me. Jordan Johnson Rebel there with those guys. So some definite changes, some people kind of moving up the depth chart. I think that the big moves have been with Murad Watson. You really like the tightening of the race there with Lance Jackson and Colton Vasek. You have to monitor, what's kind of happening between Brad Spence and Zini Yamuzulo behind Colin Simmons. Linebacker feels like it's very, very simple. Anthill, Leongo Lafau, and when they go to three linebackers, Trey Moore, which I think we're going to see a lot more of this year than we did last year. And then the stuff with the nickel, just having to monitor, when does Derek Williams get back? When is he finally healthy? And when he does come back healthy, has Jelani McDonald done enough to where it's like, okay, do we even want to move him anymore? Is that even what we want to do? Because you have to remember that, whenever Derek Williams was at the height of his powers, we said, this is a guy that's going to be gone in 3 years, and then here we are, we just hop in and we're gone in 12 and a half minutes.